Hello everyone and welcome to my channel DB Designs and Sewing Australia. I'm Deb and today I'm here to talk to you about my make for the week, which is the Aria button down, and basically it is a shirt or a shirt dress. So this is the Aria button down, and the unusual thing about this shirt or shirt dress is that the collar and the collar stand are all one piece. It actually makes for a very, very easy sew. I will insert photos as we go, and I will leave the photos up for much longer this time because you've told me that I'm not leaving the photos up for long enough so you can't really see. So this is the collar and the collar stand. So you can see that does not have a seam where the collar stand meets the collar. And it really makes for quite an easy sew. And very neat and less bulky. But I will say I took their advice and I did face the upper and the under collar. So that your collar's got a bit more structure, because often the collar stand is what gives your collar the structure. Both sides of your collar being interfaced is going to allow it to stand up, because I may wear it standing up in that sort of a fashion, especially considering, and I didn't consider it when I bought the fabric or even started the garment, that if I turned it back like that, you're going to be able to see the white on the inside, because it's not a shirt that's got facing on the inside. So when I put it on, I did have it sort of standing up like this so that you couldn't see any of the white on the inside. And I suspected I would wear a scarf with it. So if I wear a scarf sort of loosely tied around the front here from the back collar, that will force the collar to stay standing up a little bit at the back, and make sure that you can't see any of that white inside, because I do not like that white inside. So if I was to make it again in a plain colour, see, something like this linen wouldn't make any difference on the wrong side. So note to self, if you make this again, please make sure that your fabric is the same colour on the inside as the outside of the fabric. You know, the right side and the wrong side need to be the same or very similar colour. And this is clearly a white digital print. So it's digitally printed onto white fabric. Now this is a cotton sateen, and unlike other cotton sateens, it's not a stretch sateen. And it's not a terribly heavy cotton sateen either. It's actually much thinner. I've made a lot of things out of cotton sateen in the stretch style, and they can be very heavy and very warm, but this has no stretch, and it's really quite thin compared to other ones. Now it does have a nice button placket, bit hard to see in such a busy fabric, but quite a bit of sewing in this, and quite a bit of, I probably didn't follow the instructions exactly because I have my own way of doing button plackets, which is to sew the oblong rectangle, cut into the corners, and then get a piece of binding that you've created, stitch it down, turn it over, stitch it the other way, fold it in, fold it out, and you can still get the point on it. Actually, I saw it on YouTube, so I'll put it into the description below, and really it makes it so easy to make a button placket than because your button placket technically has a little tower piece attached to another section that you sew onto it. The only difference I did was the piece, and it's not a piece cut on the bias, it's a piece cut on the straight, but the piece that I cut to sew in the long length, I faced. Oh, sorry, I interfaced. And that just gives it more structure and more strength. So a very nice tower placket, cuffs, everything has top stitching. And I must admit, and the burrito method is used for the yoke once again, but I did hand stitch down this inside of the collar before I top stitched it, because if you top stitch it and it's even, you know, 3 mil from the edge, I want that absolute edge to be caught in. So I just slip stitch it into the stitching that exists from the original part of the collar being sewn on. It's not how they recommend you to do it. And it did take a little bit longer. I made the size medium and it is really quite fitted. I made the size medium with the full bust option. So you'll see from the photos that it's really quite fitted in the bust. And so to eliminate any gaping that you get when things are not just necessarily fitted in the bust, but if you've got a decent sized bust, you can get gaping. Even when things are loose, you can get gaping. So I have stitched down this button placket. So I actually didn't make buttonholes. I just sewed the buttons on. And I sewed them on where I would usually sew them on. And that's why those two are closer together, because where it meets your bust, that's where I would always have a button. So I made it appear like it was. I added a frill onto the bottom just to make it a bit longer, and I did not want a shirt tail style or a split at the side style. You can see from the line drawing, and this is the dress I made, that it's got side splits and it's not really, really long. So I thought it would be more of an autumn dress. So I added the frill on to give it a bit of length. It's not a very gathered frill. It's not a very gathered frill. It's just the amount of gathering that I did with my overlocker. So I just put my overlocker onto gathering stitch and gathered up that piece, stitched it on. So that was really, really easy. The hardest part of this, I guess, is the plackets. The collar was surprisingly easy. I think it's a fabulous idea to have your collar and collar stand in one piece. It's something that I would use again. So I really like the shirt part of this dress more than the bottom part of it. So I probably will make some winter shirts out of it. It does have a pleat in the back. You can see it's got an inverted pleat in the back section, and on the inside that just looks like a box pleat on the inside, and the inverted part is on the outside. But you could do that any way you wanted. You can always make your pleats the other way around on any shirt. You can make what it appears like on the inside with the box part. You can make that on the outside. Wouldn't make any difference. Still gives you the same amount of room, same amount of ease, which is what it's for. Or you can even do a tiny gathering stitch or a couple of little pleats instead. It wouldn't really make any difference. So there's a fair few variations that you could do with this pattern. I'm not sure in winter time if I wouldn't actually cut out the size large so that I could fit a Spencer under it. Depends what I think I'm going to wear with it. And I'm not sure if down the line I mightn't cut this off and turn it into a shirt, but we shall see. I think I'd always envisaged making a shirt with this fabric, and then I made a dress. So who knows? Anyway, that's all the sewing I've done for this week. It did take me, I think I cut it out on Monday night and finished it on Thursday night. So it took a few nights to make after work. And hopefully next week I'll have something new for you. I've just gotten back from Ocean Grove after visiting my grandchildren and my daughter. And I've had a lovely weekend. I hope you all had a lovely weekend too. See you next week. Bye.